Hi, English 60. How are you? Today you have a new lesson which is about sampling. What is sampling? Why do we use sampling? Advantage and disadvantage of sampling. Now, in quantitative research, mainly quantitative research, you have to select a sample in order to collect information from a population. So, what is a sample and what is a population? This is very important. I'll just give you one example to explain this one. Now, sampling is the process of selecting few, let's focus on few, what we call them sample of students from bigger group. This bigger group, we call it population. So this one is population, it's the bigger group, and small or few or just some numbers, we call them sample. Now, the process of selecting sample from total population has advantage and disadvantage. The advantage of selecting sample is that it's financially rewarding and human resource, as well as it saves time. And then disadvantage of it is that you only have prediction or estimation of your population opinion about some topic. Now I'll just make it very clear through this example. Let's, for example, students called Siham. Siham, she wants to study the speaking difficulties of Mazun College students. So her topic is about speaking difficulties. Now she decided to study the speaking difficulty of Omani students, let us say. So, or as I said, let's make it clear, Mazun College students. Now, Mazun College students, the total population of Mazun College students is 1,750. It's difficult for Siham because she cannot reach the whole, so she decided only to choose 50 students from this 1,750. Now, just let's go. The 1,750 is called population. Okay, ونسميه باللغة العربية مجتمع الدراسة. Okay, the selecting 50 students only is the sample, واللي نسميه بالعربي عينة الدراسة. Clear? So why she selected 50 students? Actually, there are time she cannot reach or meet or interview or let us say do a questionnaire with 1,750 students. That will be very difficult, and then also it's very expensive, so for also financial reasons. And how many researchers she would need to meet 1,750? So HR, human resource, also is an issue here. So this is what we call as the advantage and disadvantage of sampling, which now the concept is clear with you. Now let's focus on, there are some important issues about sampling. These are terminologies you have to understand. So the population, as I said, what is the population? It's the bigger size or the bigger group from which we select the sample. So it's the group from which you select your sample. The sample is just a small group of participants you meet in order to collect data. Size of your sample or sample size are the total number of students you decided to select. Now, for example, in that example, it was 50 students, so the size sample was 50 students. Now, sample design and strategies are the way you use to select this sample. And actually, we have two main ways. You will find them after some time. Okay, so that we call it strategies or sample design. Now, the sample unit, each student is considered to be a unit, and the frame is a list of students whom are in the sample. Now, the statistics are the findings, your findings based on the information you collected. You call them statistics. And then the last terminology, the population mean, which is the arrived natija. Statistics are arrived phenomena or the arrived conclusion after you finalize your sample statistics is called population parameters or population means. Okay, now principle of sampling, to select a sample, it means that you need to make sure that each unit has equal chance to be selected, and then this is we call it random, اللي نسميه بالعربية العشوائي. عشوائي. Okay, for example, these are the two types sample methods. We have probability sample, non-probability sample. Okay, I'll give you just small example to explain. Okay, I'll give you now more examples to explain what do we mean by probable sample. Okay, now see, the going to Saham example, she selected 50 students. Now, how she can select the 50 students? Now, this is the question, what you call it, sample strategy or the sample design. Now, if all got equal chance to be selected, we call it, we have random, العشوائي, random, and then we have non-random. العشوائي means that you don't have any basic. I mean, you have to only all students, all participants, all sample, let us say here, have all units or all students have equal chance to be selected. For example, you will say that I will meet any students I meet him in the corridor, I'll take him as a sample. So you never know. We all can walk into that corridor and be sample. Okay, but in this one non-random sample, it means الغير عشوائي, it means that you select. So for example, here would say, and the main difference is not all have equal chance to be selected. Okay, again, this is, we are here talking about what we are talking here about, the sample design. Sample design or sample strategies. Okay, now the most famous type of strategy is this one, random. Okay, and the non-random, I'll give you one example. She would say, I want only the English language students, female one. So male students are not, they don't have chance to be selected. Also, the students who are not in the English language department, they will not be selected. And here in this example, you don't specify. It is open to all. Okay, these are the main difference between what we call the probability sample and the non-probable sample. Okay, so the probability sample اللي هو all have equal chance to be selected. There are mainly 4 types: simple random, systematic, stratified, and cluster. And here we have convenient, quota, judgmental, snowball. I want you just to recognize that probability sample, this is what I just explained as random sample. Random sample. And here it's the non-random. It's the same. Okay. A later stage we can talk about these, the difference in between these types, but I don't want to make it difficult now. Now, as I said, random probable sample designs, which is this group here, okay, it's represent design to be called random sample or probable sample. It is imperative that each element or each student in the population has an equal chance to be selected. There are main advantages of random sample, that it's good, it can be generalized to the total population because you only take any sample. So this is more generalized, يعني عندهم نسبة تمثيل للمجتمع أكبر. Plus when you apply random sample or the probable sample, it's very strong to make a very solid statistics test, اختبارات تحصيلية إحصائية from the findings. If it is based on random sample, considered to be wrong, considered to be stronger. Okay, specific random sample, as I said, this is the most common type used in random sample. We call it simple random sample. And then we have stratified and cluster, as I just showed you here. And then non-random sample or non-probable sample, we have quota, accidental, judgmental, expert, or snowball. Okay, just to make it easier, you just identify these, and no need now at this stage to understand the difference between that will be very complicated. And then sometimes, especially in triangulation studies, they will apply this type, which is mixed, using random or non-random. Okay, so going to the previous example, here also there is a mixed design, which is using both random and non-random. Okay, and this is good in triangulation studies and studies that would use both quantity and qualitative research. Now, this one here, it's the last point I want to mention, which is when can we say the concept of saturation point in qualitative research. And here, qualitative research. In qualitative, we don't do sampling. Okay, so sampling is mainly, it's more to the quantitative research because has so many participants. In qualitative, only small number of participants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have very purposive sample, and therefore we talk about saturation point. The qualitative research data is usually collected to a point where you are not getting new information. When you have the feeling that you have finished, then you stop. You say that I have collected all the information I need from 1 or 2 only. Then this is نقطة الوصول, نقطة الاكتفاء. When you reach this point, so this is an indicator that you have finished your